Humanity rises. The year was 2487, and humanity had come a long way from its humble beginnings on Earth. Over the centuries, driven by an insatiable thirst for knowledge and adventure, they had ventured out into the stars, colonizing dozens of planets and moons across the galaxy. The United Terran Federation, UTF, now stood as a beacon of human unity and progress, a shining example of what humanity could achieve when they worked together. Captain Lena Sorensen stood on the bridge of her ship, the UTSS Valiant, gazing out at the vast expanse of space before her. She was a rising star in the UTF military, known for her strategic brilliance and unwavering bravery in the face of danger. Lena had always dreamed of exploring the stars, and now, at the age of 35, she was living that dream. But as humanity had expanded across the galaxy, they had encountered other intelligent species, and not all of them were friendly. The Zorath Empire, in particular, viewed humanity as a threat to their dominance. Led by their ruthless Emperor Castor, the Zoraths were known for their advanced technology and aggressive expansionist policies. As Lena watched the stars drift by, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to happen. Tensions between the UTF and the Zorath Empire had been escalating for months, with skirmishes breaking out along their borders. The Zorath's increasingly hostile rhetoric and military buildup had put the entire Federation on edge. Suddenly, an alarm blared throughout the ship. "Captain," her communications officer called out, "we're receiving an emergency distress signal from the colony on New Eden." Lena's heart raced as she rushed over to the comm station. New Eden was one of humanity's most promising colonies, a lush, Earth-like planet on the edge of UTF's space. "On screen," she ordered. The view screen flickered to life, revealing a scene of utter chaos. Buildings burned in the background as panicked colonists ran for their lives. In the distance, Lena could see the unmistakable shapes of Zorath warships descending from the sky. "This is Governor Eliza Harding of New Eden." A woman's voice crackled over the comm, barely audible over the sounds of explosions and screams. "We are under attack by Zorath forces. They came out of nowhere. Our defenses are failing. We need immediate assistance." Lena's mind raced with possibilities. New Eden was over a day's journey away at maximum warp. Even if they left immediately, they might not make it in time. But she knew they had to try. "Set a course for New Eden. Maximum speed," she ordered. "And send a message to UTF Command. We're going to need reinforcements." As the Valiant leaped into warp, Lena couldn't shake the sense of dread that settled over her. The Zoraths had finally made their move, and she feared that this was only the beginning of something much larger, a war that could engulf the entire galaxy. But as she looked around at her crew, their faces set with determination and resolve, she knew that humanity would not go down without a fight. They had come too far, achieved too much, to let themselves be conquered now. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Lena knew that the indomitable human spirit would see them through. As the stars streaked by outside the viewscreen, Captain Lena Sorensen prepared herself for the battle to come. The Zorath Empire had no idea what they had just unleashed, the fury of a species that would never, ever surrender. The colony falls. The UTS Valiant dropped out of warp at the edge of the New Eden system, and the vista that greeted them was one of utter devastation. The once thriving colony was now a burning ruin, its lush green landscapes scorched and blackened by Zorath weapons fire. The twisted wreckage of human defense platforms and ships littered the space around the planet, a grim testament to the ferocity of the attack. Captain Lena Sorensen stared at the carnage in horror, her hands clenched tightly on the armrests of her command chair. She had seen combat before, but nothing like this. The sheer scale of the destruction was staggering. "Scan for survivors," she ordered, her voice tight with barely controlled anger and grief. Her crew worked frantically at their stations, their faces grim as the sensor data came back. "Captain, I'm picking up a few scattered life signs on the surface," her science officer reported. "But the Zorath ships are still in orbit, and they're not responding to our hails." Lena's mind raced as she weighed her options. The Valiant was a formidable ship, but it was no match for the Zorath fleet arrayed against them. And with Federation reinforcements still hours away, any direct confrontation would be suicide. But she couldn't just abandon the survivors on the surface. Every moment they delayed, more innocent lives could be lost. "Prepare a stealth shuttle," she ordered. "We'll go in quiet, grab as many survivors as we can, and get out before the Zoraths know we're there." But she couldn't just abandon the survivors on the surface. Every moment they delayed, more innocent lives could be lost. "Prepare a stealth shuttle," she ordered. "We'll go in quiet, grab as many survivors as we can, and get out before the Zoraths know we're there." It was a desperate plan, but it was the only one they had. As the shuttle launched from the Valiant's bay, Lena couldn't shake the feeling that they were already too late. The scene on the surface was even worse than she had imagined. The once gleaming capital city was now a smoldering ruin, its tall spires toppled and its streets choked with rubble. The air was thick with smoke and the acrid tang of burning metal. Lena and her team picked their way through the devastation, their weapons at the ready. The eerie silence was broken only by the distant sounds of Zorath ships and the occasional crackle of flames. As they approached the ruined governor's palace, a faint cry caught Lena's attention. She signaled her team to stop, straining her ears to hear over the pounding of her own heart. There it was again, a child's cry, coming from beneath a collapsed section of the palace wall. Lena sprinted towards the sound, her team close behind. They found a group of a dozen children huddled in a small, miraculously intact room, their faces streaked with tears and soot. "It's okay," Lena soothed as she gathered them close. "We're here to help. We're going to get you out of here." But even as she spoke, a shadow fell across the doorway. Lena looked up to see a looming Zorath soldier, his plasma rifle aimed directly at her head. Time seemed to slow as Lena's training kicked in. In one fluid motion, she shoved the children behind her and brought up her own rifle, firing a burst that sent the Zorath staggering back. "Move," she yelled to her team as she scooped up a terrified child in each arm. They ran, dodging rubble and enemy fire as they wove through the ruined city streets back towards their waiting shuttle. They had almost made it when a plasma bolt seared across Lena's shoulder, sending her stumbling to her knees. She gritted her teeth against the pain, pushing the children ahead of her towards the shuttle ramp. "Go," she ordered her team as she struggled back to her feet, laying down covering fire against the pursuing Zoraths. "Get them out of here." The last thing Lena saw as the shuttle doors closed was the burning ruins of New Eden, receding behind them, the once hopeful symbol of humanity's future, now a smoldering tomb. As they docked back with the Valiant and jumped to warp, Lena couldn't shake the image of those terrified children from her mind, or the knowledge that there were so many more they hadn't been able to save. The Zoraths had struck a devastating blow against humanity, and Lena knew that New Eden was only the beginning. As word of the attack spread across human space, she could feel the rising tide of grief and anger, the cry for justice and retribution. This second part picks up right where part one left off, with Lena and the crew of the Valiant arriving at the ruins of New Eden in the aftermath of the devastating Zorath attack. It introduces the first major action sequence of the story, with Lena leading a daring rescue mission to save a group of children from the ruined colony. This sequence is meant to showcase Lena's bravery, quick thinking, and selflessness, even in the face of overwhelming odds. The part ends with Lena's successful rescue of the children, but also with the grim realization that this is only the beginning of a much larger conflict. The image of the burning ruins of New Eden serves as a powerful symbol of the destruction the Zoraths are willing to unleash and the high stakes of the war to come. Ingenuity and vengeance. In the weeks following the fall of New Eden, the United Terran Federation reeled from the shock and horror of the Zorath attack. The images of the burning colony were seared into the collective consciousness of humanity, a stark reminder of the threat they faced. For Captain Lena Sorensen, there was no time to grieve. In recognition of her heroic actions on New Eden, She was promoted to the rank of admiral and given command of a special task force with one single urgent mission: find a way to counter the Zorith's devastating technological advantage. As she stood before the assembled scientists and military strategists in the gleaming conference room of UTF headquarters on Earth, Lena could feel the weight of their expectations bearing down on her. "The Zoriths caught us off guard at New Eden," she said, her voice firm with conviction. "We won't let it happen again. It's time to show them what human ingenuity can do." Among the gathered experts was Dr. Ari Kauri, a brilliant xenotechnologist who had been studying Zorith technology for years. With his deep knowledge of their systems and a daring, unconventional approach to problem-solving, Lena knew he would be an invaluable asset. "Dr. Kauri," she said, turning to the lanky, dark-haired scientist, "you've been working on countermeasures to Zorith weapons. What do you have for us?" Ari stepped forward, his eyes alight with the thrill of the challenge. "The key is in their shielding technology," he explained, bringing up a holographic schematic of a Zorith warship. "It's highly advanced, but it operates on a different frequency than our own. If we can find a way to disrupt that frequency, we might be able to pierce their defenses." Lena nodded, her mind already racing with possibilities. "How soon can you have a prototype ready?" "With the resources of this task force, Admiral, give me a week." And so began a feverish round of research and development, as Lena and Ari worked tirelessly to devise new weapons and defenses that could stand against the might of the Zorith war machine. They pored over captured enemy tech, ran countless simulations, and pushed the boundaries of human scientific knowledge to its limits. As they worked, a bond began to form between the admiral and the scientist. Lena found herself drawn to Ari's brilliant mind and passionate dedication, while Ari couldn't help but admire Lena's unwavering strength and determination in the face of impossible odds. Late one night, as they were hunched over a prototype shield emitter, Ari turned to Lena with a question that had been weighing on his mind. "Why did you join the military, Admiral? What drives you?" Lena was silent for a long moment, her eyes distant. "When I was a child, I looked up at the stars, and I saw endless possibilities," she said at last. "I saw a future where humanity could be something greater than we ever dreamed, and I knew I wanted to be a part of making that future a reality." She turned to Ari, her gaze fierce. "The Zoriths threaten that future. They want to snuff out everything we've built, everything we could become. I won't let that happen." Ari nodded slowly, understanding dawning in his eyes. "So it's not just about vengeance for you, is it? It's about protecting our potential." "Vengeance is a part of it," Lena admitted. "I lost good friends on New Eden. But you're right. This is bigger than that. This is about the survival and the soul of our species, and I'll do whatever it takes to defend that." As the days ticked by and their new technologies took shape, Lena could feel a growing sense of hope and determination taking root among her crew and the UTF forces. The Zoriths had struck a devastating blow, but humanity was far from beaten. And as she stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching the final preparations for their counterattack, Admiral Lena Sorensen knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, with all the ingenuity, courage, and indomitable will that had carried humanity to the stars. The Zoriths had started this war, but humanity would finish it and emerge stronger than ever before. Turning the tide, the UTF fleet emerged from warp at the edge of the Cavis system, the location of a key Zorith military base. Admiral Lena Sorensen stood on the bridge of her flagship, the UTS Retribution, her eyes fixed on the view screen and the enemy ships arrayed before them. Beside her, Dr. Ari Kauri monitored the readouts from their new weapons systems, his brow furrowed in concentration. "Shields are holding steady," he reported. "The frequency modulators are online and ready." Lena nodded, a grim smile tugging at her lips. "Then let's show the Zoriths what human ingenuity can do. All ships, commence attack." The UTF vessels surged forward, their hulls shimmering with the newly developed shielding that Ari and his team had created. The Zoreth ships opened fire, their plasma bolts splashing harmlessly against the resilient human defenses. "It's working," Ari exclaimed, his eyes lighting up as he watched the sensor readouts. "Their weapons can't penetrate our shields." Lena felt a surge of fierce pride as she watched her ships advance, the Zoreth's fire growing increasingly desperate and erratic as they realized their usual tactics were failing. "Concentrate fire on their lead cruiser," she ordered, her voice steady with determination. "Let's show them the consequences of underestimating humanity." The Retribution's new plasma cannons roared to life, joining the barrage from the other UTF ships. The Zoreth cruiser's shields flickered and died under the onslaught, its hull crumpling inward as the relentless human fire tore through its defenses. Across the battlefield, the story was the same. The UTF ships, armed with the new technologies born from human innovation and desperation, were more than holding their own against the once overwhelming Zoreth forces. As the last Zoreth ship broke apart under the UTF assault, a cheer went up across the human fleet. Against all odds, they had emerged victorious in their first major engagement since the fall of New Eden. But even as they celebrated, Lena knew this was only the beginning. The Zoreths would not take this defeat lightly. They would regroup, analyze, and adapt. The war was far from over. In the aftermath of the battle, as the UTF ships regrouped and tended to their wounded, Lena found Ari in his makeshift laboratory, poring over the data from the engagement. "We did it," she said softly, laying a hand on his shoulder. "Your work saved a lot of lives today." Ari looked up, his eyes shining with a mix of exhaustion and elation. "We did it together," he corrected gently. "Your strategies, your leadership, that's what really made the difference." Lena shook her head, a soft smile playing across her lips. "It's like you said before. It's about protecting our potential. And today, we showed the galaxy just what that potential can do." But even as she spoke, Ari's expression grew troubled. He turned back to his screens, his fingers flying over the controls. "What is it?" Lena asked, a flicker of concern in her voice. "During the battle, I noticed an anomaly in the Zoreth ship's power signatures," Ari explained, his brow furrowed in concentration. "At first I thought it was just a glitch, but now—" He brought up a schematic on the main screen, pointing to a pulsing node at the heart of the Zoreth cruiser's design. "I think this is some kind of central power core," he said, his voice tight with excitement. "And I think I know how we can exploit it." Lena leaned forward, her heart racing, as she took in the implications of Ari's discovery. If they could find a way to target these power cores, to turn the Zoreth's own technology against them, it could change everything. It could turn the tide of the war once and for all. As the Retribution set course for the nearest UTF base, Lena and Ari bent their heads together over the schematics, their minds racing with possibilities and plans. The road ahead would be long and hard, filled with uncertainty and danger. But armed with the knowledge of this new weakness and the unbreakable bond of trust and determination that had grown between them, Lena knew that humanity would not stop fighting until the Zoreth threat was ended, once and for all. The Zoreths had started this war, but humanity would finish it, no matter the cost. Depicts the first major turning point in the war, as Lena leads the UTF fleet, armed with Ari's technological breakthroughs, to a decisive victory against the Zoreths. This part is meant to be a culmination of the themes and plot threads introduced in the previous parts: the power of human ingenuity, the growth of Lena and Ari's partnership, and the slowly shifting tide of the war. The battle itself is described in vivid detail, showcasing the effectiveness of humanity's new weapons and defenses against the once overwhelming Zoreth forces. This is a moment of triumph and validation for Lena, Ari, and the entire UTF. However, the part also introduces a new development in the form of Ari's discovery of the Zoreth's power core weakness. This sets up the next phase of the story, as Lena and Ari must figure out how to exploit this vulnerability and press their advantage. The interaction between Lena and Eri in the aftermath of the battle is meant to further develop their relationship, showing the depth of trust and respect that has grown between them. It also reinforces their shared commitment to protecting humanity and ending the Zorath threat, no matter the challenges ahead. The part ends on a note of both triumph and anticipation, as Lena and Eri begin planning their next move in light of this new information. It sets the stage for the climactic confrontations to come in the final parts of the story. Please let me know if you'd like me to proceed with Part 5, or if you have any feedback or adjustments you'd like me to make. I'm committed to shaping this story to align with your vision and preferences. Copyright seated. The final assault. The Zorath homeworld hung in the view screen, a mottled orb of gray and brown against the starry backdrop of space. Admiral Lena Sorensen stood on the bridge of the UTS Retribution, her gaze fixed on the planet that had been the source of so much death and destruction. Beside her, Dr. Eri Cowrie made the final adjustments to the new weapon they had developed, a resonance pulse emitter designed to target and overload the Zorath's power cores. It had taken weeks of round-the-clock work, countless simulations and tests, but they had done it. They had found a way to turn the Zorath's own technology against them. All ships report ready, Admiral, her communications officer reported. The fleet is in position and awaiting your command. Lena nodded, her jaw set with determination. This was it, the moment of truth, the final assault that would decide the fate of the war and the future of humanity. Patch me through to the fleet, she ordered, her voice steady and clear. As the comm channel opened, Lena took a deep breath, her eyes never leaving the image of the Zorath homeworld. This is Admiral Sorensen to all UTF ships, she began, her words ringing out across the void. Today, we bring an end to this war. Today, we strike at the heart of the Zorath Empire and show them the true strength of human resolve. She paused, letting her words sink in. Many of us have lost friends, family, loved ones to the Zorath's aggression. They sought to crush us, to extinguish the light of human progress and potential. But they failed, because they underestimated the power of the human spirit, our ingenuity, our courage, our indomitable will to survive and thrive. Lena's voice grew stronger, filled with the fire of conviction. Today, we fight not just for ourselves, but for all those who came before us, and all those who will come after. We fight for the dream of a galaxy where humanity can spread its wings and soar to heights undreamed of. And we will not be denied. A cheer went up from the assembled crews, a roar of defiance and determination that seemed to shake the very stars. Lena felt a surge of pride and love for these brave men and women who had endured so much and yet still stood ready to give everything for the cause. Commence attack, she ordered, and the UTF fleet surged forward as one. The Zorath defenses were formidable, a bristling wall of ships and orbital platforms that filled the sky with fire. But the human fleet punched through with the reckless courage of those who fought for more than just their own lives. At the heart of the maelstrom, the Retribution danced and wove, its new shields turning aside the worst of the enemy fire. Eri's resonance weapon pulsed again and again, each burst sending another Zorath ship tumbling out of control as its power core overloaded and exploded. But the Zoraths fought with the desperate ferocity of a cornered beast. A concentrated barrage slammed into the Retribution's shields, making the whole ship shudder and groan. Consoles sparked and crew members were thrown to the deck as the bridge was plunged into dimness. Shields down to 15%. Eri shouted over the chaos. We can't take another hit like that. Lena gripped the arms of her chair, her mind racing. They were so close. The Zorath defenses were crumbling, their fleet in disarray. But the Retribution was badly damaged, and the enemy flagship still loomed ahead, pouring fire into the fray. She made a decision, the only one she could. Eri, transfer all remaining power to the resonance weapon, she ordered, her voice calm and clear amid the chaos. We're going to take out the flagship. Eri met her gaze, understanding and resolve passing between them in an instant. "Aye, Admiral," he said softly. "It's been an honor." Lena reached out, gripping his hand tightly for a moment. "The honor was mine," she whispered. Then, louder, "All hands, brace for impact." The Retribution surged forward, all pretense of defense abandoned as every ounce of power was channeled into the resonance weapon. The Zorath flagship loomed ahead, its massive hull bristling with cannon and missile batteries. At the last moment, just before the two ships collided, Eri triggered the weapon. A brilliant pulse of energy leaped from the Retribution to the flagship, a blinding lance of light that seemed to pierce the very fabric of space. For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the Zorath flagship convulsed, explosions bursting along its hull as its power core went critical. The massive ship listed to the side, then broke apart in a silent conflagration of shattered metal and shattered dreams. Lena watched, scarcely daring to breathe, as the wreckage of the Zorath flagship tumbled away, and the remaining enemy ships fell into confusion and disarray. They had done it. Against all odds and at a terrible cost, they had struck the decisive blow. As the bridge crew erupted into cheers around her, Lena sagged back in her chair, her eyes stinging with tears of joy and grief. They had won the battle, but the cost had been high. The Retribution was badly damaged, and so many brave UTF ships and crew had been lost. But they had done it. They had shown the galaxy the true strength and resilience of the human spirit. And as long as that spirit endured, Lena knew humanity would never be broken or bowed. The war was not yet over. There would be more battles to fight, more sacrifices to make. But as she looked around at her cheering crew, at Eri's exhausted but triumphant smile, Lena knew that they would face whatever came together, as a fleet, as a species, as a united force that would never stop fighting for the dream of a better tomorrow. They had come to the stars in search of knowledge and glory, and in the crucible of this terrible war, they had found something even greater, the unbreakable bonds of courage, compassion, and shared purpose that would carry humanity forward to its destiny among the stars. Lena closed her eyes, a small smile playing across her lips. To absent friends, she whispered, and future victories. The battle was over. But the real work, the work of building a galaxy where all species could thrive in peace and unity, was just beginning. And humanity would be there, leading the way. This part is meant to be the emotional and action-packed peak of the story, bringing together all the themes and plot threads in a single decisive confrontation. The stakes are at their highest, the costs are profound, but the potential rewards, the future of humanity and the galaxy, are immeasurable. Lena's speech to the fleet encapsulates the central ideas of the story: the resilience of the human spirit, the power of unity and determination in the face of adversity, and the dream of a better future that drives humanity forward. The battle itself is intense and costly, pushing Lena, Eri, and the UTF forces to their limits. The destruction of the Zorath flagship using Eri's resonance weapon is a powerful moment of triumph and vindication, but it comes at a high price. The aftermath of the battle is a mix of joy, grief, and solemn reflection, as Lena and her crew come to terms with their victory and its costs. But there is also a strong sense of hope and determination, a recognition that this is not the end, but the beginning of a new era for humanity and the galaxy. The part ends on a poignant, forward-looking note, with Lena's quiet toast to absent friends and future victories, encapsulating the bittersweet nature of their triumph and the work still to be done. Please let me know if you'd like me to proceed with the final part, Part 6, or if you have any feedback or changes you'd like me to make. I'm committed to bringing this story to a satisfying and impactful conclusion that resonates with your vision. A new era. The war was over. The Zorath Empire, once the scourge of the galaxy, lay in ruins, its fleets shattered and its leadership scattered to the cosmic winds. Across the United Terran Federation, celebrations erupted as the news spread. celebrations tempered by the memory of the fallen, of the brave men and women who had given their lives to secure this victory. Admiral Lena Sorensen stood at the podium in the Great Hall of the UTF Capitol, looking out over a sea of faces, politicians, military leaders, citizens from 100 worlds. All eyes were on her, the hero of the war, the woman who had led humanity to triumph against impossible odds. But as she began to speak, her words were not of glory or conquest, but of remembrance and rebuilding. "We have won a great victory," she said, her voice ringing clear in the hushed assembly. "But it is a victory tinged with sorrow. We have lost so much: friends, family, worlds that can never be replaced. And though the Zorath threat is ended, we know that the galaxy is still a dangerous place, full of unknown perils and challenges." She paused, her gaze sweeping the crowd. "But we also know that we are stronger than we ever realized. This war has shown us the true depth of human courage, ingenuity, and resilience. It has forged us into something new, a united force capable of facing any threat, overcoming any obstacle." In the front row, Dr. Ari Carey nodded, his eyes shining with pride and emotion. He and Lena had been through so much together, from those first desperate days after New Eden to the final triumphant assault on the Zorath homeworld. They had forged an unbreakable bond, a partnership of minds and hearts that had changed the course of galactic history. Lena's voice softened, becoming reflective. "But our work is not finished. The end of this war marks a new beginning, a chance to build a better galaxy, one where all species can live in peace and cooperation. It will not be easy. There will be challenges, setbacks, new threats to face. But I believe that if we stand together, if we hold true to the ideals that have brought us this far, there is nothing we cannot achieve." She raised her head, her eyes blazing with conviction. "So let us honor the fallen by building the future they dreamed of. Let us reach out to other species, learn from them, work with them to create a galactic community founded on respect, understanding, and shared purpose. Let us be a light in the darkness, a beacon of hope and progress for all who seek a better way." As the crowd rose in a standing ovation, Lena stepped back from the podium, her heart full of emotion. She knew that the road ahead would be long and difficult, that there would be obstacles and adversaries at every turn. But she also knew that humanity would face those challenges as it had faced everything else, with courage, determination, and an unshakable commitment to a brighter tomorrow. In the years that followed, the UTF became a galactic superpower, but one dedicated to peace and cooperation rather than conquest and domination. Under Lena's leadership, humanity reached out to other species, forging alliances, trading knowledge and resources, working together to explore the wonders and confront the dangers of the cosmos. And though there were conflicts and crises, moments of tension and uncertainty, the legacy of the Zorath War endured, a legacy of unity, resilience, and the indomitable human spirit. Lena Sorensen, the hero who had led humanity through its darkest hour, became a symbol of that spirit, a reminder that even in the face of the greatest adversity, there was always hope, always a way forward. She had come to the stars in search of adventure and glory, and she had found them. But she had found something more as well. She had found a purpose, a calling, a destiny larger than any one person or species. And as she stood on the bridge of her ship, looking out at the infinite expanse of the galaxy, Lena knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, humanity would face them as it always had, together, united, unafraid. The future was waiting, and humanity was ready to meet it, to shape it, to make it their own. A new era had begun, and the stars were theirs for the taking. The concluding part of the story serves as an epilogue, reflecting on the consequences of humanity's victory over the Zoraths and looking ahead to the future that victory has made possible. Lena's speech to the UTF Assembly encapsulates the central themes of the story: the profound costs of the war, the strengths and values it has revealed in humanity, and the opportunities and responsibilities it has created. Her words emphasize remembrance, rebuilding, and the ongoing work of creating a better, more peaceful and united galaxy. The mention of Eri in the audience serves to underscore the importance of their partnership and the bonds forged in the crucible of war, bonds that will continue to shape the future. The time jump in the later paragraphs shows the long-term impact of the war and humanity's victory. The transformation of the UTF into a galactic superpower dedicated to peace and cooperation, the outreach to other species, and the ongoing legacy of unity and resilience. Lena's final reflections serve to tie together her personal journey with the larger arc of human destiny. The sense that through all the struggles and sacrifices, she and humanity have found a higher purpose and calling. The ending strikes a hopeful, optimistic note, asserting humanity's readiness to face whatever the future holds with courage, unity, and an unwavering commitment to shaping their own destiny among the stars. This concludes the 6-part story. I hope this tale of human resilience, ingenuity, and the power of unity in the face of adversity has resonated with you. If you have any final thoughts, feedback, or reflections, I'd be more than happy to discuss them with you. It's been a pleasure crafting this story with you. Here are some ideas for an engaging and SEO-optimized YouTube video title and description based on the story we've developed. Title: Humanity's Finest Hour, an epic sci-fi saga of war, survival, and unity. Description: in a galaxy on the brink of annihilation, one species will risk everything to save all they hold dear. This is the story of humanity's final stand against the ruthless Zorath Empire, an epic saga of courage, sacrifice, and the unbreakable bonds that unite us in our darkest hours. When the Zoraths launch a devastating surprise attack on the human colony of New Eden, Admiral Lena Sorensen, commander of the United Terran Federation Fleet, and her brilliant scientist ally Dr. Eri Cowrie must race against time to uncover the enemy's fatal weakness. Together, this unlikely duo will forge an unshakable partnership, develop astonishing new technologies, and lead humanity to the very edge of oblivion and beyond. With heart-pounding space battles, richly imagined characters, and profound insights into the human spirit, this 6-part sci-fi odyssey will take you from the ashes of a fallen colony to the birth of a new galactic era. You'll experience the terror of a species on the brink of extinction, the rush of discovery as Lena and Eri unlock the secrets of Zorath technology, and the triumph of the human spirit against impossible odds. At its core, this is a story about the power of unity, resilience, and hope in the face of overwhelming darkness. It's a testament to the idea that together, there is nothing we cannot overcome, no enemy we cannot defeat, no challenge we cannot surmount. It's a vision of a future where the stars are ours for the taking, if only we have the courage to seize them. So join Admiral Sorensen, Dr. Cowrie, and the brave men and women of the UTF as they fight to save not just their own species, but the very soul of the galaxy. Because this isn't just humanity's finest hour, it's our defining moment. And the future of everything hangs in the balance. #Sci-Fi, #Spacey Opera, #HumanityFTW, #Space Battles, #Galactic War, #United Terran Federation. Let me know if you'd like me to modify or expand on any part of this title and description. The goal is to intrigue potential viewers, give them a sense of the story's scale and emotional resonance, and include relevant keywords for SEO purposes.